Every December, Spotify does a thing where it gently reminds you who you really were last year. You open your Wrapped expecting a neat little summary, and instead you're confronted with the fact that you played one sad song 147 times in March. What's wild is that the whole ritual wasn't even supposed to be a cultural phenomenon. It started in 2015 as a simple year in music recap, just a feature buried inside an app. Then in 2016, they renamed it Wrapped. By 2019, someone at Spotify had the brilliant idea to make it shareable. Bright colors, little cards, Instagram ready. And that's when it exploded. Today, Wrapped isn't just a feature. It's an annual confession booth for the world. More than 90 million people interact with it every year. Over 60 million Wrapped stories get posted across Instagram and TikTok. And every December, Spotify jumps to the top of the App Store because people are literally downloading it just to see their stats. And if you sit in a company like we have, you know that in December, likely, all of the executives are saying, "What's our Wrap?" Which is usually a little too late, so that's a different story.
How do I check my Spotify Wrapped?
How do I check my Wrapped?
How do I check my Wrapped?
How do I check my Wrapped?
My Wrapped.
It taps into all of our soft spots. Quantified identity, nostalgia, social comparison. It takes your randomness, the late night loops, the comfort tracks, the accidental anthems, the songs your kids listen to incessantly, and organizes them into a story. A story that feels cleaner, more intentional, and more meaningful than whatever chaos you were actually living through. And the truth is, that's how years work. They work the same way. You don't understand them while you're in them, but when you rewind, suddenly the pattern appears. The highs, the lows, the themes, the unexpected turns. So for today's episode, we're doing our own version of Spotify Wrapped. No algorithms, no neon gradient cards, just the moments, personal and professional, that defined 2025 for us. The wins that stayed on repeat, the lessons that kept returning to us, and the surprises that ended up in the top tracks, even though we never consciously added them to the playlist. So with that, this is The Art of Commerce 2025 Rewind Edition. I'm Jinx Joglekar.
I'm Anish.
And let's get into it.
The Art of Commerce is a podcast featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. Hosted by Anish, a data-obsessed creative director, and Jinx, a growth-obsessed CMO. Listen on for actionable insights for the modern marketer.
Anish, 2025.
This is it.
We're ending. I can't even believe the year's over. It went like a million miles an hour.
It was a blur.
We're still, by the way, we're still in our holiday bunker. We haven't left the holiday bunker. Okay, we won't leave until the new year. So this is the time we get to talk about it. So for you, Anish, like, what's your view of 2025? When you look in the rear view, what's your Wrap?
This has been a landmark year in a lot of ways, Jinx. Like, when we started the year, I was very nervous going into it because, I start each year with the same sense of doom and gloom and there's a little bit of excitement. But this year I was just like, man, what is this year going to be like? And it really started off on a high note because if you remember, Q1 2025, we were at the Adobe Summit in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
We won that award for the Disruptor.
Yeah.
For being great at what we do.
Anish won the award.
For being a disruptor in the marketing technology personalization space, we were up against Casio. We were up against Unilever, multinational giants.
Yeah. Accenture, right? They funded something.
Yeah. And to be able to be there on the stage representing Sling, winning that award was an absolutely unbelievable moment. And that was one of the biggest highlights of this year for me. You were there, it was magical.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, and it just showed, again, like, I always talk about it, and we said in the intro, I love the Steve Jobs quote, "The dots connect themselves in hindsight." Correct. So you don't really know what you're doing when you're in it.
Yeah.
Is the other way to say it. And like, I mean, we've been working for years on the personalization stuff. What the work you did at Sling, how we got to recognize anonymous visitors, how we did better personalization if we had data points about you. We've been working for years, and not just you, the whole team, it was a team effort. But I would say, looking at what you were able to do, you were really able to bring people together.
Correct.
You were able to bring people together and get people rowing in the same direction and bringing this to life. And so I was so proud when you were on that stage, when you accepted the award, and then more recently, even now you're part of a group,
the Champions Forum,
right? For the Champions Forum of Adobe, where you're actually not only touting your own success, but saying, how can I help others succeed?
Correct.
Which is even more amazing.
Yeah, and also what's so surprising, what was so surprising about this one for me, Jinx, is I'm not a part of this market world traditionally. You know my story. You guys know my story. I started as a creative guy, right? From a creative director to be now working with technology and sort of marrying both of those worlds and creating the type of success that we've seen. It is incredible. So thank you for the opportunity.
Of course, yeah.
And we'll just keep going from there. So that was March for me. Any big Q1 wins that come to mind for you?
Yeah, I mean, so look, I think for me, it was a little bit of in the rear view, but I'll say it again, I'll say it a million times. Like we, and this is all public information, but we were able to transform Sling really from a business that was losing about 200,000 subs a year to really growing in 24 into 25. And I mean, that's, a massive swing when you look at that delta again, like it started in 22 when I joined and hired really good people like yourself, Anish, where we're looking at it from like, how can we bolster our digital team? How can we lean into a brand that's emotional? We've talked about functional versus emotional. We were very functional. How do we move to emotional? How do we actually have an e-commerce engine, which is the way you buy it, that works? How do we understand how to market and convert people on the devices? Go fish where the fish are. If you're on those Rokus and other smart TVs, et cetera, we got to be there. And then how do we create a strategy that really goes through it, where we're constantly looking at our best customer and creating data models and propensity models and all kinds of things that we were able to do on that front. And so the fruit of that labor and to take a breath on January 1st, once we knew we did it, was just like,
yeah,
it was just awesome.
You brought in awesome people. You were there shepherding us through the strategy and actually seeing the forest through the trees, as you said. I'll be honest, man, when I started on that team like 3 years ago, I had no idea how we were going to do what you guys said we would do.
Yeah.
And then looking at what we did, what a journey.
Yeah, I mean, and we talk about it, we talked about it, in some of the earlier episodes, right? When we're talking about leadership and, look, as a leader, by the way, I didn't know how we were going to do it either. Like, nobody did, but you have to tell people where you're sailing.
Correct.
You have to say that we're going to this destination. That's where we're sailing. But we don't know how we're going to get there. We don't know what the boat looks like. Yeah, we don't know if it's a sailboat, if it's a powerboat, if it's this, but we're going to go in that direction.
Correct.
And the winds are going to blow us off course, and we're going to get into fights.
Sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, market forces, economy, blah, 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 blows you up. Team dynamics, right? You're all I love the boat analogy because you're all in the boat together.
Correct.
People get mad at each other, right? People don't talk to each other. People believe that their idea is right, for good reason normally, not maliciously, but they just have passion, right? And so you get into these arguments, you get into these, this productive tension, hopefully, right? But it's only productive if you guys say, okay, all right, now we're going to move the rudder here because this is the direction, right? This is how we get around the storm, right? This is how we get in. The analogy can keep going and going, like, how I like to do. But bottom line is, that was my goal as a leader, was to set that destination and then get the right people, right crew members on the boat to help us get there.
Yeah, another thing that got us through those storms is a lot of it just boils down to the trust that you have with your leadership and with your team, right? And the trust is nurtured through breadcrumbing the right pieces of information at the right time. And that's another thing you spoke about on the podcast is don't wait till the actual goals are met. They will be met, but along the way, you're taking so many steps towards that just being abreast of that knowledge helps keep you moving forward. It's one step after the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Incredible Q1s for us.
Yep.
A beautiful thing happened towards the end of Q2. Start of Q3 is we started the Art of Commerce podcast.
What's better than that?
Yeah. It was 3 years in the making. Right? We were always talking about Jinx. We have such great, insightful conversations. He is a mentor to me. We used to have such amazing conversations about, hey, how you build a good team culture, how you overcome these challenges, and also more more secondary natures, like how do you tell a great story? How do you influence a group of stakeholders that are beyond your immediate realm?
Sometimes it was, Anish, show me how to use Midjourney.
Yes, of course. And so many AI explorations. We gotta talk about that too.
You always show me that.
But then that, all those conversations culminated into this small movement, which is now the Art of Commerce podcast.
Yeah.
And Jinx, I'm going to throw out a few numbers at you. How long do you think we've been doing this podcast for now?
6 months?
Less than 6 months.
Less than 6 months.
5 months. Our first episode was 18th or 19th of June.
Oh, okay.
And we are in December now.
Perfect.
So, and in that small amount of time, we have 160,000 views for our YouTube channel so far. 160,000 views.
Amazing.
Right? That's not all.
And we're not paying YouTube for promotion, right?
Not at all. This is all organic. This is just people staying and watching and just interacting with our content.
Okay, well, thank you.
Hopefully looking forward to more of these things.
Exactly. Well, we thank you. We're going to thank you right now.
These 160,000 views have resulted in a watch time of 460 hours.
Holy smokes.
460 hours. How many days is that? That's a lot of days.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's 20 days or something.
Yeah, 20 days. That's like almost a whole month.
Right?
That's like a whole working month. So people have spent their whole working month now, watching us and listening to us. That's great.
Yeah. And a majority of them watch us on their cell phones if there's something to do with 75%. So hit that button. The subscribe button is right over there.
Yeah, we want to, in the next draft, we'll literally shout you out.
That's a good idea. But man, when we started this Jinx, I had no idea we would be able to make a gang. And this is a gang. Like, this just tells me we gotta keep doing more of this. And it's really encouraging to see the type of response that we're seeing. What are some of the comments that you receive when you're doing your speaking tours and meeting with people? What's the reaction like?
No, I mean, the reaction is unbelievable. Like, it's honestly beyond anything we could think about, right? Like, and it's not like the 150,000 views and the big numbers.
160.
We've got 160. Right? We're going to be at 200 at the end of the year. But seriously, like the big numbers are great. It feels great. There's some big numbers, there's some small numbers, but all that matters is, to me, right? Like when we started this, we said, like, if we can make a difference, we even said it on one podcast, right? If we can make a difference in one person's life, if you can influence and inform and make someone think creatively or differently about something, then we won. And I got to tell you, like, I get LinkedIn messages, I get text messages from folks and that listen. I've just gotten the nicest comments about the fact that we're relaying something that matters. One person even told me they used some of the concepts in an interview.
Whoa!
And so that was like, I was just like, wow, we're really doing it then. And others have said, that I've used to work with, they've said, hey, it'd be like, now I know why people liked working on your team, which is like, again, not to my own, but very self-gratifying. Because I do love leading teams and people and mentoring, obviously. So,
you do a great job at that, dude.
Anyway, so beyond my wildest stuff, because like, I'll take it back a little bit because, like Anish said, we started this podcast really because, and if you look at some of the first 6 episodes, if you haven't watched them and you're watching this,
now is your time.
Now you should. And I only say that because the concept behind this was, I would have one-on-ones with everyone on the team, and Anish was one on the team. And I scheduled the time, like I said, I set up the place to have an honest conversation. And those honest conversations should be sprawling and talk about life and talk about what we like and talk about how we grow together and what we can learn from each other. And Anish came to me one day and just said, hey, I want to do this podcast with you. Don't you think we should? And I was like, well, like we could work, we work together. And I was like, kind of weird because then now, like, would everybody want to do it? I'm like, I was a little conflicted. I'll be quite honest. And but I knew this year was a year of change. And I left corporate. I started my own consulting practice mainly because, we grew in Sling. We accomplished something that I came here to do. And I thought about what's next. And a voice in my head came back and said, hey, when you were younger, you always said you were going to work because you were going to be the venture capital for your future.
Well said. Yeah.
So you're your own VC, right? You don't work and save money and all this stuff just to live someone else's dream. You want to live your own. And so I thought long and hard about it. And that's what propelled me to say, hey, well, I can do that and start Growth Stack Commerce, which is my consulting business. And have been helping both brands on their marketing strategy and their go-to-market, as well as some of my really great ad tech, martech partners that I use and have loved, both from a leadership and product perspective on their go-to-market. And so I'm able to do that. And when I decided to do that, that's the moment I really called back Anish and I said, "Hey, Anish, I think one of the barriers to entry is out of here. So let's figure out how we do it." So that's what this year for me has been. I'm a little different than Anish. I don't look at January with doom and gloom. I look at January with optimism. And to me, the optimism was change. And that's what this year is about for me. And the first was creating the business. And then the second was starting this. And both have been fantastic.
Extremely rewarding
in the first year. Yeah, exactly. In the first year.
Yeah. You remember our first meeting when we spoke about this podcast, when we were actually looking forward to do it? Jinx and I, we just grabbed a beer for like 30 minutes. All I had is a concept note. And Jinx is like, "All right, this sounds great, let's do it." And the next weekend we were shooting. I think we knocked out like the first 6 episodes in that weekend. And the rest, as I'm sure we'll say at some point, is history.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I will say, the other comment I do get a lot is how well the production is. And so, like I said in the very beginning, to quote my old Philly friend, Will Smith, he was the rapper, DJ Jazzy Jeff was the producer, but that means he did everything. And all Will Smith do is talk. And that's the way I feel with Anish. All I do is talk, and Anish really, he's the DJ. He does everything. So you want to talk about the creative and the production and how you get that all done?
So Jinx, when we first started doing this, he was like, if we are doing it on video, it has to look slick. And I come from a background of producing things. I used to produce a bunch of the trailers that you're seeing on Netflix. And, I understand the importance of high-value creative, as do you, because of your background. And off the back, we knew that it had to have a certain finesse and a quality of production, because that's who we are speaking to. We are speaking to fellow marketers like us who are judging and approving creatives every day. So if we are putting something out there, it's got to be something we can be happy with. And it's being incredible doing all of that. Like just, sourcing all of these equipments, making us look good, making us sound good, finding a really competent team that can help us produce and package this. Shout out D-Labs.
Yep, D-Labs. What's up?
It's being awesome, man. So far, it's going well.
Yeah, no, it's great. Now, I got a lot of great feedback about the quality. And then the last thing we should talk about is, and more to come on this, but we've had just some really great interview guests.
Yes. Right. We've had Tim Glom. Yep. We've got Anike from M5. And we have someone coming up really soon in one of our episodes, CEO of a really kick-ass company that we both like.
Yep.
The CEO more, the product.
But it's a high bar.
We have such awesome conversations coming up. Yep. It's also, I think the podcast is a great way to just meet new people and make friends.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we like to do. I mean, that's been the fun for me in this entrepreneurial journey, is just meeting everyone and talking to people, but whether I was haven't talked to them in a while, we used to work together, or they're brand new and I'd never met them before. Shout out to Jeremy Bloom. You see Marketecture, he runs Oh Hello as well, which is a mentorship company. And so they do great things. And he has his own podcast, Brand Forum. And he's just one person, one example of hundreds of examples of great people that I've met in this journey because we're doing this kind of stuff. And, I just look forward to year 2 and I guess month 6 through 12 and then
let's hit the 6 month first. Man, I am really excited to be doing so much more with this. Another thing, Jinx, that we started doing because of the podcast is we started using AI a lot.
Yep.
In just promoting the podcast.
That's
we
right.
got on Sora. We were one of the first people. First 1,000 people.
First
2,000 people to get on the platform. And since then, we just use that to make such cool promos. I get so many comments about that. Yeah. It's incredible.
No, you do. I mean, look, that's where you excel. And so you're always opening my eyes to this. And so I'm happy to be a participant. And again, I don't know if we released the episode yet or we will, but Anish did a whole little mini seminar on AI video creation and what he does in his process.
That's another big thing that happened this year. Is I really started getting into when we started our AI explorations a couple years ago, Jinx, we were doing skills. Right? This year it really evolved from just skill frames to actually videos, and we've been able to create some really compelling pieces that I can't wait to keep doing more of and show the world what's possible.
Yeah.
Coca-Cola, Derek, with their recent Christmas spot.
We talked about that.
We want to keep doing that. We want to keep building that on top of that momentum.
Yeah, and again, it's all like we say. It's the AI is really just the orchestrator, right?
It's a tool.
It's a tool. But you need the taste and the timing, right? And you're going to pick the tool as a human, but the humans bring the taste and the timing. And that's like I said to Anish, you got the taste, man. You got the timing, man. So everything he puts and starts producing with AI just feels natural and feels like it's something awesome versus,
that's high praise coming from a CMO. So I'll take it. I'll take it.
This is The Art of Commerce, featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. If you found value in today's episode, follow the show, leave a review, and stay tuned for more insights for the minds reshaping modern marketing.